And, let's talk about that counterattack. So just before the hour mark, that long ball from Andronik Teimourian, and one of the South Korean defenders misjudged that bounce. And there's Reza Ghouchanejad to, put that away like the pro that he is. And, Iranian players, fans, everyone's going crazy, coaches as well. What a scene that was. And when you first saw Reza Ghouchanejad at training camp, I mean, did you feel that he was going to be a special player for Team Melli during that World Cup qualification campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the first time he came in, we were very impressed by his finishing ability. Um, Players that have that quality in their game don't come about too often. You have forwards who work hard and they get a lot of opportunities and they need a bunch of opportunities to score goals. But Reza was the type of, he was like a marksman. He was a sharpshooter. He could get one opportunity and put it away, and that's exactly what he did in that game because we really didn't have a lot of other opportunities besides what happened there. And going back to that play, Ando, he basically cleared the ball, and I remember that the grass being a little slick, being at night, and as you said, the Korean defender, he did misjudge the bounce of the ball. The little hesitation gave Reza the opportunity to get in front of the guy, shield him off, and now go to goal. And again, just like any sharpshooter, any good finisher in football, he was able to finish his chance, which was great.
Iran is up 1-0, but there's plenty of football left to be played. So at that moment, did you have that feeling in your head where you told yourself, okay, here comes the onslaught from the South Koreans?
No doubt. Just like any other game, when you score a goal, there's going to be a reaction from the opponent. Now, this was going to be to the nth degree. With South Korea having to come back and maybe wanting to tie the game or win the game, they were going to come at us with all they had. So we were prepared for that. We had practiced for that, and we were able to make sure that now we're even tighter as a team, and playing in a compressed area and not allowing them to have their way. I think Korea in general for that game made a tactical mistake, and I felt playing Korea in the past before this game, I felt that they were good, very good. They're a very good team playing on the ground, playing combinations. They had very good technical players. So now they had resorted to playing direct long balls to their center forward, who was 6'4", 6'5", great in the air, but we had prepared for that. So it just seemed like they didn't have a plan B. And because they didn't have a plan B, they played right into our hands because we played compact. We played on top of our 18, and basically everybody was very aware of what they're trying to do, and we were quick to jump on those second balls and pick him up, and whether it was clearing the ball or whether it was going on a counterattack, we were ready for that.
And as time went on later in the second half, a golden opportunity came for South Korea to score the equalizer. But Rahman Ahmadi came up with a clutch double save. And I remember I was speechless. I remember, that game, I watched that entire, after the goal, I watched the rest of the game on my knees, because I was so nervous. But like I said, going to Ahmadi's save, I was speechless when that happened. I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes. But, what can you say about Rahman Ahmadi and his skills as a goalkeeper?
He really came through for us. I mean, when you think about the squad and what happened prior to Rahman Ahmadi actually becoming a starter for our team in the last 3 games, and the whole Ramati issue, he came in and did an admirable job. He was huge. He was clutch. And no different in that game against South Korea. He came up with the huge saves when it was needed, and that's what you ask of your goalkeeper. And Rahman certainly did that, not only in that game, but in the 2 games prior to that as well.
So time continued to wind down, and as we know, in stoppage time, one last header from the South Koreans goes inches wide of that far post. I mean. I would just say, talk about dodging a bullet. And at that point, were you just physically and mentally exhausted?
No doubt. I mean, that goes for the whole group. I feel like, we were hanging on by a thread, and, at any second it could go the other way, just like in any other game. With the luck of the bounce, or something happening within the field of play, you could end up on the losing side, or you could end up giving away the win. But on that night, it was just our night. We felt destined, and we thought that this was going to happen for us. We just had to hang on for dear life, and we did. Um, when you look at Team Melli's history this past World Cup, if Taremi scores that goal, the header, maybe we're in a different place now. Maybe Carlos Queiroz is still working in Iran and coaching the national team. So everything happens for a reason. And on that night, we were destined to win. And, obviously we had to perform on the field, but the players did great, and we got the result.
So the final whistle blew. Iran qualified to the World Cup. What a moment that was. And what was it like for you to be on the field that night when you all were celebrating?
It was total elation, and we celebrated on the pitch. We celebrated in the locker room. We celebrated on the bus on the way back to our hotel. At the hotel, it was just nonstop. I mean, just think about it. We did something that nobody believed we could do, and that was winning the last three games. We had come off of some not so good results against Lebanon in Lebanon, and I remember there was another result that didn't. Oh, the Uzbekistan game at home where we lost. So not many people gave us a chance, but we came through, and it made everything so much more enjoyable.
We know that Reza Ghoochannejhad will always be remembered as a hero in Team Melli folklore, scoring a huge goal, scoring the goal to take Iran to the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. But if you could make a tough decision, who else could you possibly pick to be the man of the match for that game against South Korea?
I don't like to pick necessarily one player or say Reza was the reason or Rahman was the reason. I mean, everybody sort of chipped in. You win and you lose as a team. But if I had to really, single out one player, I would single out Ando. Ando broke his hand actually in the first half. I don't know if you recall that, but he was in severe pain, and we had other players on the bench who could come in and do a job, but we felt Ando was a big piece there. And we checked with him at halftime, and he was in great pain. I mean, I remember him sitting in his locker, and he was just grabbing his hand, and he just didn't know whether he was going to continue or not. But he went out there and he fought like a warrior, and he is a warrior. He's always been. But on that night, he was even a bigger warrior, and he went out and did a great job, and he actually ended up assisting on the goal. So that was great to see. I would have to single him out. But I thought our whole team throughout this campaign did an admirable job. And, with the leadership of Carlos, we were able to achieve something huge. And it was a start of, Team Melli going on a run for the next 5 or 6 years after that.
I really definitely got to agree with you in talking about Andranik Teymourian. I mean, I've heard people say on more than one occasion, even one of my buddies who's also an analyst for Team Melli Talk named Dara Zarandi, and he has said all along that he believes that Andranik Teymourian was the unsung hero of that entire 2014 World Cup qualification campaign.
Yeah, I mean, and players like him are players that every team needs. They're not flashy players. Their work goes unnoticed a lot of times, but they're the heart and soul of a team. They're the ones that are working up and down, box to box, and putting the miles in. And Andranik is a great team player. I can't say enough about him.
What was the return like to Iran and the welcome that awaited all of you?
Great. I mean, just the elections in Iran had just happened, and there was huge celebrations on the streets a few nights before our win against South Korea. But this was going to be another celebration, and we were getting back, and we knew there was going to be people at the airport welcoming us, but we didn't know the degree of that welcome, and we were just totally impressed by the reception of the people of Iran, and then all the celebrations that went on through that night.
When you look back, was this one of your favorite moments in your football career?
No question about it. I mean, outside of when I won a championship as a coach or as a player, I would have to put this ahead of those, because this was something that 90 million people really, really were affected by it, and to bring joy to those people was just a great, great feeling for every one of us.
Omid, just want to tell you that it was a pleasure to have you on Team Melli Talk. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I just want to tell you that, like I said, we're talking about a great moment in Team Melli history. On that day, June 18th, 2013, that's my birthday. And, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you for giving me one of the best birthday presents ever. I mean, that's a day I will never forget. And of course, best of luck to you with the Houston Dynamo.
Well, it made it even more special now that you told me that. So, well, I'm glad we were able to bring joy to you, but also to another 90 million people, as I said before. That it was a great moment in Iran football history, and a great moment for me personally.
A fight to the finish in Ulsan, a night we'll never forget. Omid, once again, thank you for taking the time. It was a pleasure to have you on Team Melli Talk.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you.